Hey everyone, welcome back. Arc Trading here. Just gonna kind of go over the recap for this last week. Pretty good week overall. I got 9 out of 10 trades. And just kind of going to go through them. I made a couple of adjustments that I'll go over as well, but just to kind of start off. So Monday, we did have no news Monday. PA was a little bit, actually a lot wacky for the AM session. Uh, just couldn't get a good read. There was a couple of B setups here and there, but honestly, if you took this mechanically, you would have I think you would have been like -1 R uh, in the red for the morning. So no setups on the stream for Monday morning. So to go through the PM session's actually been setting up nicely. I did switch over before I was taking 12 points stop with 12 points full TP. I did revert back to the original risk management model. So now I'm actually taking TP1 at 6 points, TP2 12 points, and then TP3 18 points. So splitting up into 1/3. So there was one setup I took on Monday, which was A plus, but because price action was a little bit on the I hate using the term sloppy, but it is what it is, especially when price starts making higher highs and lower lows. Uh, Typically the read's gonna be a little bit off, but we did have this push up into this 1 minute bearish fair value gap and push off, which is an A plus. So we had on the 15 seconds this break of structure right here, fair value gap, golden pocket entry. This went to 6 points, so TP1, and then break even over there, plus, which was +2 ticks. Eventually, it did work out where it would have been full TP, but this is what you get with that kind of price action. You're going to get these moves where it's going to sweep these internal highs and then come down and sweep those lows. So general direction was correct, but just didn't work out the way it was supposed to work out. So that was just 1 for 1 on Monday, and I decided to actually cut it early for the day, just based on how PA was. Especially when it's no news Monday, I try to keep it light. You don't want to put yourself red in the beginning of the week. So moving on to Tuesday, kind of the same deal. Morning PA wasn't the greatest. There's a couple mechanical setups, but main thing I look for is a price off of 1 minute and a setup, 15 or 30-second setup to come out of it. Now you can see there is one right here. However, we had a 1 minute bullish fair value gap over here, which was bouncing off numerous times. So generally those setups are going to be low probable unless it inverses it. Okay. But I did take 2 PM setups right here. Let's go back to it. So there was one 30 seconds. So this is what I'm talking about here. It was 2 for 2 on Tuesday for the PM. Both were TP1 break even, and that's fine because I'm gonna show you like throughout the week. I had pretty much all my green trades were TP1 break evens, which is fine because those are going to add up, especially when you have a higher win rate. Those will add up. So we have this setup right here on the 30 seconds. This is a 1 minute bullish fair value gap. Was pricing into, and then finally we had a clean break of structure right here. Right over there. 30-second fair value gap. Entry right there, you only took like a tick of heat. Went up to 6 points, so that was TP1. Fell short of 12 points, and then just break even from there. Okay, so no follow through on that side. And at that point, just started kind of melting down a little bit. And then the second setup I took, this was a little bit of a heartbreak, but that's okay. We had this 1 minute bullish fair value gap that's priced into twice already. It did sweep this low, which I liked. So got that also kind of like the turtle soup over there. And then pushed out of it, did not inverse that 1 minute, and then we have this tiny break of structure right here. No equal lows either. Tiny break of structure. Got tagged in right there. This went 11.5 points, and it came down. for break even. So another TP1 break even on that. So 2 for 2 on Tuesday. And at that point, nothing really set up from there. And it started ripping up. And then moving on to Wednesday, kind of let the price chop around. I believe Wednesday we did have 10 a.m. Eastern Time news. Actually, it was 9:45. The flash manufacturing PMI. So typically, red folder news like that, I don't like taking a trade beforehand until the news comes out, and then I like to wait about like 10 minutes after. This was actually caught on the stream right here on our Discord stream. This was a beautiful setup. 1 minute bullish fair value gap, swept these equal lows right here. This is on the 15 seconds. So swept those equal lows, priced into a bullish fair value gap, pushed out. You have your breaker structure right here. What I got tagged in. Now, I did not include this in my data because after I got tagged in, I realized that I was on Sim, not on my PA accounts. So that was a little bit of a letdown rookie mistake. It's going to happen. Typically doesn't happen to me, but, you know, mistakes were made. So at this point, when it went to 6 points, I realized that it was on my Sim. Okay, but this was a very nice trade. This went to your full TP 18 points. So 6 points at TP1, 12 points TP2. This went for a full 18. There was a couple more inside of it, but like right here on the 30 seconds over here, there was this setup in between that, but I think I was just a little bit bummed out that it was on my Sim, and I didn't feel like chasing, especially after you miss like a good move. I decided to stay out of it from there and just come back for PM session. So moving on to PM session, I was actually 3 for 3 on the PM. This was an A+ setup. I love these setups where we kind of get like this meltdown over here, sets up a 1 minute fair value gap, a bearish fair value gap, pushes into it, rejects out of it, and then the setup presents. So there was a 15-second right over here. So price into a 1 minute, no equal highs above. Okay, you do have these relative equal highs, but since we're already in a sell program, we don't have to worry about that too much. Had a break of structure, fair value gap on the 15-second entry right there. Only took like a couple ticks of heat, a few ticks of heat. This did only go to 6 points, so TP1 right there. Hit 6 points, went to the break even, and then decided to go, I believe, for the full 18. Yeah, for the full 18. So if you notice, there's a lot of TP1 break-evens this week, and that's fine. I don't mind it, of course. Getting the TP2 and the full TP is nice, but these ended up saving the week, and they are going to add up. So there was already a few TP1 break-evens, but all those small moves do add up, and for those reasons alone, put me green for the week. I did have one loss, which I'm going to show you. That was for Thursday, but just kind of showcase this right here. But this is a perfect setup. I don't think this setup has ever failed. When we get like this displacement down, price into that first 1 minute fair value gap, and then set up from there, this has probably worked every time I've taken it. It's just a matter of if it goes to TP1 or full TP at that point. And in that case, it's not really in your control if it does or it doesn't. It just comes down to risk management. But the break even is not something that I'm willing to change because it saved me more times than it working out. So moving on to the second trade for that Wednesday in the PM session, we had this kind of this displacement up, took out this buy side, but also repriced into this 1 minute bearish fair value gap and started dropping from there. I think this also hit a standard deviation of like -2, -2.5, which you would expect a retracement if it decides not to hold that standard deviation area. Now, there was, I took it on the 30 seconds, but there was a 15 seconds right here, priced into this 15-second bullish bearish fair value gap, displaced down fair value gap. However, we still had this 1 minute bullish fair value gap that had not inversed yet. Typically, if it's between two fair value gaps, bullish and bearish, it can be a toss-up. So I would rather prefer that we wait for a confirmation. So this setup had not inversed this yet. As soon as this inversed it, I was waiting to take another setup out of it. And then this presented itself. There was also this one over here, which would have been nice, but I don't think I caught that one. Probably just flew past me. But there was a 30-second setup right over here. So as soon as it inversed, there was a 30-second setup over here. So we have your breaker structure, fair value gap, second candle entry right there. This went to, again, same result, 6 points, went up to break even, and then decided to just absolutely melt down from there. So overall direction has been good this week in regards to reading it. It's just a matter of what TPs it's going to fill you at. So another TP1 break even right there. That's 2 out of the 3. And then moving on to the third trade for a Wednesday PM. Same concept. We had this displacement down, 1 minute bearish fair value gap, priced into. No breaker structure here, but there was this 15-second breaker structure right over here. So no equal highs, no open fair value gap, priced into the 1 minute bearish, broke structure, 15-second fair value gap. First candle would have filled you in that golden pocket. And same thing for this one. Hit 6 points, went to break even, and then decided to go for like 12, I think, on that one. Yeah, 12 and a half points from there. So overall, not bad. I'll take 3 out of 3 any day. I wish, of course, one of them hit TP2 or full TP, but like I'm telling you, those points will add up because that put me a little bit less than 0.5% for the day. So moving on to Thursday, this is actually the one and only loss of the week. I was 1 and 2 on Thursday, and this was on the AM session over here on the 30 seconds. So we had this displacement down, 1 minute fair value gap, so priced into it. And then you had your breaker structure right over here. So I do not count smooth lows. You see how there's these 2 candles right here with equal lows. I do not count that as a breaker structure if the candle next to it breaks those smooth lows. If this candle was not there and it had closed above those wicks, then for me it would be a breaker structure. But since I saw this breaker structure right here, I was more than okay with taking this. So what it filled you on the first candle right here on the 30 seconds. And then it just went straight up to the stop. And I think we just failed to realize on this one. Nothing wrong with this setup. I would still take this again if I ever saw it. Because like I said, these work more times than none. However, it did hit a -2, -2.5 standard deviation from a zone that we had marked out. So the chance of a retracement was definitely higher. But like I said, I would take this pretty much anytime I would see it. It just so happens that it respected that -2, -2.5, and decided to push up from there. And then going on to the second trade of Thursday, I do like these setups as well. This is actually a 1 minute breaker block that it priced into, so I do look for moves out of those breaker blocks. So we had that 1 minute breaker block, pushed up into it, got a 15-second setup out of it, so we had a breaker structure right over here. First candle would have tagged you in, took some heat on this one, like around, was it 8 points of heat, and came back down, hit that TP1 break even at 6 points, tapped me out right there, and then decided to just absolutely melt from there. I think it went like 25, yeah, 25 and a half points going from there. But these are really nice setups too. For me, I would say that these are definitely A setups. If it's going into a breaker block and it rejects out of it, chances are it's going to have that retracement right there. So this is a really quality setup. TP1 break even on that as well. Now moving on to Friday's first trade. So 2 for 2 on Friday, TP1 break evens. And this is just going to show that the importance of that TP1 break even, because if I did not have that, this would have been a full loss right here. So at around 10:50 Eastern time, we had these equal lows, obvious equal lows set up over here. So chances are it's going to want to sweep those equal lows. It's just your job as a trader to figure out when you should be entering that trade that's going to take it to those lows. So we had this 1 minute bullish fair value gap right here. It did inverse. So as soon as that closed, my thought process was, okay, we're going to sweep these equal lows. we had a 15-second break of structure right here. Okay, break of structure, no equal highs. Well, we had these equal highs, but I was okay with it being swept, and the fact that it did inverse this 1 minute. So no bearish 1 minute fair value gap, but it did create an inversion, which would be deemed as like an A minus setup. So even if there's equal highs and there's inversion, or if there's like a bearish fair value gap, I'm okay with disregarding those as long as it's within a range that even if it decides to sweep it, there's still room within my stop. But if this inversion was not here, I would not even bother with this, but I did like that inversion and the fact that we have all these equal lows down here. So I had that break of structure on the 15. Would have filled in on the first candle, went to TP1 break even, 6 points, and then break even right there. And when I say break even, it is plus 2 ticks, so ends up being a little bit more than 6 points of profit based on that trade. But if I did not have that, it would have been a full stop right there. And moving on to the last setup for the week, this was another TP1 break even. Pretty clean move. It didn't have follow through. I believe this was still trying to sweep those AM lows, which it did right after. But I did like the fact that we had this -2, -2.5 standard deviation marked out that pushed into it. And like I said, the chances of retracement is a little bit higher when it quote unquote rejects or supports this area. I think it was just a little bit too much in premium, but overall it was a clean setup in my book. I wouldn't deem it as an A plus. Maybe if I would have really graded it, would have been like a B plus, because I would have preferred it to be a little bit lower, more in that discount area. So we had this 1 minute bullish fair value gap that it priced into over here. We had this 30-second break of structure. Fair value gap would have tapped you in on that second candle. The same thing went for 6 points. Took some heat on it over here. I think it was like 9 3/4 heat, and decided to go back up, hit that 6 points, and then break even from there. So overall clean week. Honestly, if it wasn't for that sim trade mess up, I would have been up over 1% for the week. But it's okay. Mistakes are gonna happen. But in the end, a green week is a green week. If you guys are interested in joining on Discord, I'll have the link below in the bio. It's really cool. We have a lot of good traders on there, people sharing ideas. It is free to join. If you do want to do the VIP where you do catch APNI trading for the AM sessions, we do have a section on that as well. But other than that, let's have a safe coming week. It is NFP week coming up, so be a little bit more cautious, and then we'll see you then. Thanks.